Okay. Welcome everyone, and good evening, and welcome to the 2022 Stittsville Volunteer Awards. Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue aux présentations des prix de reconnaissance des bénévoles de Stittsville. Tonight we acknowledge that Ottawa is located on unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, whose culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. Il est important de souligner que la ville d'Ottawa se trouve sur un territoire non cédé de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe, dont la culture et la présence ont enrichi et continuent d'enrichir ces terres. June is Indigenous History Month, an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the rich diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis cultures, and learn from Indigenous elders and community leaders. And I encourage everyone in the community to take part in the wide variety of cultural programming and activities being offered in our city this month as part of Indigenous Month. My name is Glenn Gower. I'm the City Councilor for Stittsville, and I'm thrilled to see such a great turnout this evening. I'll be your Master of Ceremonies this evening. We have a number of special guests as well. But I'd like you now to please stand, if you're able to, and join Roxanne Olivia Fortier for the singing of O Canada. Veuillez vous lever et joignez à Roxanne Olivia Fortier pour l'interprétation de notre hymne national.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God, keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Roxanne. Merci. Roxanne is a student at West End Music School and a grade 12 student at Paul Desmarais High School here in Stittsville. Well, I would like to welcome and thank tonight's special guests, tonight's nominees and their families and friends, all of those who are here in person and also tuning in online. We have a live stream on YouTube tonight. This is better than last year where we did the awards on Zoom and I hosted from my basement. So a real step up this evening. These awards are a very special tradition in Stittsville. In fact, they go way back to 1990 when they were established as the Goulburn Appreciation Awards back in Goulburn Township. That's 30 years ago. There have been some interruptions here and there. We missed a year recently for the pandemic, but here we are back in person tonight. These awards over the years have highlighted the contributions of so many outstanding Stittsville volunteers, and we're fortunate to be joined by many previous award winners tonight. I'd like to see if you're in attendance tonight and you're a previous volunteer award recipient, can you just put your hand up, have a look around? Oh, they're all at the back there. Spread out in little pockets. We have many, many well-deserving volunteers in our community. I'd now like to welcome a special guest this evening, Mayor Jim Watson, for some opening remarks.
Thank you, Glenn. It sounded strange when Glenn was saying I did it from my basement like he was some survivalist or something. It's the first time he's been out without sweatpants on, right, Glenn? And it's so nice not to be told you're on mute 50 times during a Zoom call. So First, let me begin by congratulating all of the nominees and all of the eventual winners for your participation in making your community a better place. And I want to thank Glenn very much for his great leadership in keeping this tradition alive and for his great work as your representative at City Hall. Glenn is, as you know, a new member of council, and he's been a great colleague and a great friend, and I always enjoy the many times he invites me to Stittsville, so thank you very, very much, Glenn, and continue with the great work. It's also great to see Kalinda here. We're going to hear from Kalinda in just a few moments. We had the opportunity at City Hall to congratulate the participants, athletes and medalists and others, coaches and so on, who participated in representing Canada, and we're going to hear from Kalinda in just a few moments. So thank you again for your great work at bringing home the hardware, as they say, to Canada. It's also really, really nice that you have the Youth Award in honor of John Curry. Many of us remember fondly John. What a great leader he was. He was a school board trustee. He was the heart and soul of the community voice and the Stittsville News before that. And I always had a lot of time for John. He was such a thoughtful, kind, not flashy guy, but boy, did he know Stittsville inside and out, and we miss him very, very much. So thank you very much for naming the Youth Award after John and his many accomplishments. And it's great to see the daughter of Roger Griffiths here, who's to present to the Roger Griffiths Award for Citizen of the Year, and all of the other categories that we're going to celebrate. I'll just conclude by saying, you know, where would we be as a community without volunteers? You know, we went through a pretty horrific experience over the last couple of weeks with the power outage and the storm that damaged many homes, that had trees and wires cross roads. And the number of stories that we heard in the media or on social media of individuals helping each other. Neighbor helping neighbor, stranger helping stranger, businesses getting help, social services like the Salvation Army, our recreation staff that kept the rec center open at Cardell, because Stittsville was one of the hardest hit areas in the storm catchment area. And Glenn was there every day checking things out, making sure that we had the city services. But it really boiled down to we appreciate and respect the great work that, of course, the hydro workers did and our first responders. But it was also neighbor helping neighbor who happened to have a chainsaw that could cut the tree down or the limb before it did more damage. And sadly, we lost 2 members of the community to the tragedy of the storm. But it could have been a lot worse, as they say, and a number of people were injured. Houses were destroyed in many instances, and that's why I'm so proud of the work that volunteers did to make it a little more comforting when you were going through a very stressful time in your particular community. Alors, merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Félicitations à toutes les personnes qui vont gagner les prix. Thank you again, Glenn, for your great work, and have a pleasant evening. I look forward to meeting and saying hello to all of the recipients of the Stittsville Volunteer Awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, it's my honor to introduce our guest speaker tonight. This Stittsville resident has competed at 3 World Championships on Canada's wheelchair curling team, and earlier this year, her team won a bronze medal at the Paralympics in Beijing. Please welcome Kalinda Joseph.
Thank you very much. I'm just putting my brake on because the floor is not level. So yeah. I always call myself a natural level because you always know when the floor is not straight when I'm in the room. I either roll away forward or backwards. So I have a little bit of coordination here. So thank you so much, Councillor Gower, for inviting me to be here. Thank you, Mayor Watson, for being here as well. And I'm really excited to be here with you tonight and talk to you a little bit about my Paralympic journey. But before I start that, I'll just give you a bit of a background on me and why I use a wheelchair and my journey in that regard as well. In 1983, when I was 2, actually no, I was 18. I was I'm really excited about a trip for grade 13 French, and we had grade 13 at that time, to learn grade 13 French. And part of that trip was part of grade 13 French was to take a trip in Europe and to travel around Europe. At 18 years old, you can drink because it's legal, and you get to learn French every day, but travel around and see all these great cities in Europe. And so I decided to register, and when I registered, I was told I was on a waiting list and wasn't able to go. So I was really disappointed. And about a month later, I got a call and said, and the teacher told me they created a second group of students who would be going because there were so many kids that year that wanted to go. So I was pumped, I was so excited. So we were gonna be going to France and Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. So I got an opportunity to go to this trip, and there were 26 students in our group. And after a month of traveling around Europe, we were on a train boarded a train from Nice to Paris. And in the train, we had stopped to pick up the second group of students. There were 49 other students from the Ottawa area, but there was a screw up with the reservation and they didn't board the train. Luckily for them, they had to take another train. So from that point, we went on journey, and during the night, the train derailed, and I was injured in that accident. We lost 4 students from Ottawa, from our group, and I was most seriously injured. So when I got home, obviously our lives changed, and I thought for sure that I would never be able to participate in any sport or anything like that at all. I thought there's no way I'm getting a job, no one's going to marry me, my life is over at 18 years old. So when I was at the rehab center, I was told about all these great sports that people could participate in who are paraplegic or quadriplegic, and I was introduced to all kinds of sports. I tried wheelchair track and field, not for me. I tried wheelchair tennis, nah, it was okay, not for me. I love watching it, but I couldn't play it. Then I did skiing, downhill skiing, and that was a lot of fun, but it was freaking cold. Why am I curling? I don't know, but skiing was not for me either, but I loved it. Then I played wheelchair basketball forever, and being a 5-foot-tall woman who loved sports, I could not play basketball when I was able-bodied, but in a wheelchair, it didn't matter how tall you were, you could still play. So I played wheelchair basketball for about 15 years. And then it took a toll on me physically, and I decided that I needed to stop to play wheelchair basketball and find another competitive opportunity. So wheelchair curling came into my life. I gave it a go at the RA Center in Ottawa and went out and fell in love with it. And part of the give it a go, and I'm raising this because those programs or those opportunities are run by volunteers. They are run by volunteers, and that, for me, is massive. So I got onto wheelchair curling, got onto a team, and was coached by 2 amazing men, Carl Rennick and Bruce Gorsland. They volunteered their time and energy and put up with me for years to be able to teach me how to curl. And my husband will tell you, when they put up with me, it's a big commitment. So for many years, they worked with me, and I had a goal in mind of becoming a Paralympian, and I wanted to be a wheelchair curler, Paralympic wheelchair curler. And after the World Championships in 2019, when I made that team, that was a thrill, and I thought, I can do this. So I trained really hard, and then in 2021, during the pandemic, I was told that I was going to be going to the Paralympics. And here's my jacket, which is... So I got my jacket, the black one. They spelled my name wrong. So we had to really rush out and order a new jacket. I had to get it back in like 2 days. So for the Paralympics, the team clustered ourselves in Vancouver. We bubbled in Vancouver from February 5th until we left on February 26th. because if you got COVID within 4 days of departure, you were not going to the Paralympics. And it was a massive commitment. And again, it took a lot of volunteers to get us ready, to work with us, to do the ice in Vancouver, to prepare the rocks, do all of the things that we needed to do to be able to prepare for Beijing. And that was massive. And I think that really contributed to us actually coming home with a medal, which is actually right here. Okay. So we're very excited about this medal. I got I went as the alternate, which is fine. It wasn't fun, but it was fine. A very competitive person. It's hard sitting on the backboards and not playing, but I got an opportunity to play, and it was a thrill. And like getting the jacket and getting the medal was very emotional. And my family wasn't there, which is unfortunate, because after we won, my daughter called me, and it was, I don't remember what time it was, but she called me and she's bawling her eyes out at work, and she was really excited and happy for us. But I thank all of the people that were committing to us and to the team and to me personally. My family sacrificed as much as I did, and the community has been incredible. Like, you guys have all been very supportive and really excited for us as a team, and I'm planning to go back in 2026. Italy, here we come. And I just want to thank again all the volunteers. Any competition we go to, volunteers run it. They cook the meals, they prepare the ice, they get on the ice and help us with rocks, they clean our wheels, they get us to and from the arena. It's an incredibly important part of everything that we can do because of people in the community. And I congratulate you for your nominations tonight, and for the award winners, congratulations. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalinda. Kalinda, thank you so much. We're cheering you on all the way in 2022, and looking forward to cheering you on in 2026 as well. What an amazing journey you've been on. Thank you. Thank you. Well, now it's time to meet our nominees. We have 18 individuals, businesses, and groups who've been nominated this year, and most of them are with us this evening. So what I'll do is, as I announce each name, I'd like to invite the nominee to come to the front. You'll be receiving a certificate from Mayor Watson, as well as a gift bag from our team. And then we'll pause for a photo, and then ask you to return to your seats. And then at the end, after we've introduced all of the nominees, at the end of the evening, we're going to announce each of the award recipients one by one as we go. So we're going to start with our nominees, first of all. The first set of nominees this evening is for the John Curry Memorial Youth of the Year Award, le Prix commémoratif John Curry pour le Jeune de l'année. It is awarded to a young person who exemplifies leadership, inspires their peers, and has made a significant contribution to the community through volunteer service. C'est un prix décerné à un jeune qui est un modèle de leadership, inspire ses pairs et a considérablement contribué à la collectivité par ses services. Now this year, we've renamed the award in honor of John Curry, who passed away earlier this year at the age of 75. John was a longtime newspaper writer and editor, history keeper, school board trustee, author, playwright, and volunteer. He served our community for nearly half a century with unwavering kindness and generosity, and his work made a difference in the lives of so many people in our community. He also had a particular interest in celebrating the achievements of youth in our community, and that's why we decided to name the award after Mr. Curry. This year's nominees are Jason Birmingham. In 2021, Jason participated in over 200 volunteer hours for his community, including cleaning the Capitol at Village Square Park, fundraisers in the park, and book sales to benefit the Stittsville Food Bank. Jason also led student groups and fundraising activities for the community as a mentor and group leader. He has accumulated close to 300 volunteer hours so far. Jason, come on forward. Lara Sweden. Lara attends South Carleton High School and has over 165 hours of community service in our community. While working with One Prosper, she connected with girls in India from low-income families and helped practice English over a 6-month period. Within her own community, Lara volunteered at a languages Sunday school. She participated in local park cleanups, the Richmond Fair. She was a volunteer coach with Canada Gymnosphere and helped with summer camps at Saunders Farm. She also participates in numerous school clubs, sports, and other activities. Lara. Congratulations. By the way, I forgot to mention what's in the gift bags for our recipients. There are gift cards from some local coffee shops, Ritual and Equator. There's a City of Ottawa pin and some other goodies from the city. And we just put this together last week. Thank you, Emily. A sapling, a tree from Ecology Ottawa. An encouragement to try to replace some of the many trees that we've lost over the past couple of weeks. We're going to move on now to our next category of nominees. This is for Senior of the Year, Aîné de l'année, awarded in recognition of a senior citizen who has made a significant and long-standing contribution to our community. Le prix est décerné à un aîné ayant grandement et depuis longtemps contribué à la collectivité. This year's nominees are John Edkins. John is a photographer who has been a member of the Ottawa West Arts Association for many years. He has served as their acting director and co-chair to ensure that it continued to bring art into our community at the OWAA Gallery at Cardell Rec. John established and maintained the association's website, produced slideshows for every gallery changeover, acquired and produced content for the gallery's video display, and encouraged new artists to join the association through advertising and word of mouth. John. Congratulations, John. Nice to see you. Marion Gullock. I see Marion right in the front row here. Marion's contributions to the community go back decades. She was secretary and treasurer when the Stittsville Horticultural Society was formed in 1962. She was instrumental in the establishment of the Stittsville Friendship Club in 1982 and continues to help organize luncheons and excursions for the group. She has been part of the Ladies Auxiliary of the Stittsville Legion, a member of the Goulburn Museum and Goulburn Township Historical Society. She recently retired from the Stittsville Village Association. She's been a volunteer with the Stittsville Lions, the Stittsville Minor Hockey Association, and many other groups and activities that have shaped our community. She is a previous winner of this award in 2012 and was the Roger Griffiths Memorial Citizen of the Year in 2000. Marion. Our next nominee is Leslie Mckay. As a volunteer with the Goulburn Township Historical Society, she was editor of the group's newsletter and later became a board member. She is a director on the board of the Stittsville Village Association and was part of the coordinating committee for Stittsville's Blossom Fest. She recently joined the Stittsville Lions, and as the managing editor of Stittsville Central, Leslie has made it her mission to keep the community engaged and informed on current news and events. Leslie. Well deserved. We'll move on to our third category this evening. This is for Teacher of the Year, Enseignant ou Enseignante de l'année, awarded in recognition of an outstanding teacher in our community who goes above and beyond to support students and inspire the next generation of leadership in the community. Le prix souligne le travail d'un enseignant exceptionnel de notre quartier qui fait tout en son pouvoir pour aider les élèves et inspirer la nouvelle génération des leaders communautaires. This year's nominees. Andrew Arcello. Andrew is a grade 5 teacher at Guardian Angels School and is committed to making education fun and fascinating for his students. He is passionate about inclusion and acceptance of all students and their way of learning. Almost daily, he leads his students to W.J. Bell Rotary Peace Park to learn about the outdoors, using the labyrinth within the park to teach about math and other studies. He also contributes his musical talent by playing piano as part of the school musicals in the community. Andrew. Our next nominee is Matthew Davey. Matthew is a grade 8 teacher at Goulburn Middle School. He infuses his practice and the school with humor and a lot of care. After months of isolated online learning, he turned his overgrown hair into an opportunity for his students to refine their persuasive essay writing skills, and the student who wrote the most effective essay selected his haircut and facial hairstyle. I can't wait to see what he looks like. His homeroom recently facilitated a school-wide fundraising event to contribute to the school's goal of creating an outdoor classroom. He teaches the students how to be people of strong character and to be active in community life. Matthew. Our third nominee for Teacher of the Year is Sandra Polito. Sandra is a grade 6 teacher at Guardian Angels School and has been influential in helping new Canadian students become familiar and comfortable with the new culture and school environment. She is responsive, caring, and passionate about education. She is a leader at the school and involved in special activities and events that make school life special for her students. Sandra. In our next category, we'll meet the nominees for Business of the Year, Entreprise de l'année, awarded to a local business that goes above and beyond in order to support the community and make it a better place in which to live. Le prix est décerné à une entreprise locale qui se surpasse pour soutenir la collectivité et faire de notre quartier un lieu où il fait bon vivre. Our first nominee is Intensifex, operated by Joseph Carbonetto. He has been a fundraiser for the Knights of Columbus, raised and donated funds to the Stittsville Food Bank, Chrysalis House, the Stittsville United Church, Special Olympics, as well as organizing the Stittsville Haunted Heritage Tours and book sales for the Stittsville Food Bank. He lends his professional skills as a volunteer at Holy Spirit Parish, and during the pandemic, he came up with the idea of fundraisers, with the emphasis on fun, in the park, promoting local artists and crafters with 100% of net rental proceeds going to charity. His company supplied the equipment and offered high school students volunteer hours that they needed for graduation. Joseph with Intensifex. Our next nominee for Business of the Year is Ivan's Meat and Deli, operated by Ivan and Natalia Sarek. In 1987, Ivan's parents opened the Stittsville Meat Market on Main Street, taking over from longtime owner Garnet Shields. After his parents' retirement in 2011, Ivan and Natalia have continued their family's legacy of providing top-quality meat and deli products to Stittsville residents, a staple of our community. Over 35 years, this family business has generously donated to community events and activities and demonstrated service and commitment to Stittsville. Now, unfortunately, Ivan and Natalia could not be here tonight, but how about a big round of applause for their contribution? Shane Foley and Josh Peters of Foley Peters Home Team. Foley Peters has been a force for positivity, fun, and togetherness in our community, conducting food drives, pumpkin and yard bag handouts in the fall, and Christmas tree donations and letters to Santa at holiday time. They volunteer their time for the community in many ways, including the popular Party in the Park that happens in just a few weeks in Jackson Trails and at Mark Yakubuski Park, including bouncing castles, pony rides, barbecue, face painting, and so much more. Shane and Josh from Foley Peters Home Team. Stittsville Home Hardware. Under the ownership of Bob Bent since 2014, there's been a great deal of community involvement from Home Hardware in Stittsville. They play an important role in supporting events in the community. They are a proud sponsor of 3 charitable organizations which help people in all parts of the country, focused on children and the environment. Their national charities are the Sick Kids Foundation, the Special Olympics, and Tree Canada Foundation. Bob's team volunteers to help set up the holiday lights in the trees at Village Square Park, and they provide sponsorship and volunteer in the Kids Come First golf tournament. They are an important supporter of many local charities such as churches and schools, and an active member in the local business association. Stittsville Home Hardware, Bob. Okay, now we're on to the Volunteer Group of the Year. Groupe de bénévoles de l'année, awarded to a group of citizens who are actively working together to make a difference in the Stittsville community. Le prix est décerné à un groupe de résidents qui travaillent activement ensemble pour faire bouger les choses à Stittsville. This year's nominees: Chelsea Walton, Scott Muir, and family. This family has done so much for our community, bringing us together in smiles and laughter. Residents may remember their creative Halloween skeletons on Crantham Crescent last fall, and they kept the community smiling through COVID in many ways. Perhaps you've dropped by for a cookie or lemonade fundraiser for great causes. Both Chelsea and Scott are busy parents and busy volunteers in the community, and together they make the community and community service a fun family adventure. Chelsea, Scott, and the girls. Our next nominee for Group of the Year is the Stittsville Muslim Association. The Stittsville Muslim Association was established just a couple of years ago, but they have quickly become an important community group in our community, working to connect with Stittsville's Muslims and the community at large. They are raising money to establish a physical space in the community for their programs, and in 2021, last year, they were able to open a musala on Stittsville Main Street, providing a space for prayer and for community meetings. They have since expanded that space and are currently planning for their long-term vision of establishing a mosque to serve the growing Muslim community here in Stittsville. Please welcome the Stittsville Muslim Association. Our final category this evening of nominees is for the Roger Griffiths Memorial Citizen of the Year Award, Le Prix commémoratif Roger Griffiths. Roger Griffiths was a leading citizen in our community who served as town councilor, president of the Legion, and a volunteer firefighter. And this award is presented to an individual who best exemplifies community involvement and participation. Le prix est décerné à une personne qui est un parfait modèle d'engagement et de participation communautaire. Here are this year's nominees. Marie-Ange Ahenfol. Marie-Ange est une mère de 3 enfants passionnée, dévouée et présente. She is a dedicated volunteer within the Stittsville community and beyond, generously donating her time and energy to a number of organizations and causes. With Leading Ladies Ottawa, she's organized events, workshops, and activities to ensure that Black women and youth are empowered members of their communities by equipping them with the tools and resources required for personal and career expansion. Elle mérite la gratitude pour tout le bienfait, pour sa détermination, pour son engagement infaillible et constant au sein de notre communauté. Marie-Ange. Involved in Stittsville. I'll start over for Joseph. Joseph has been involved in Stittsville as a volunteer for over 18 years, and we've heard about some of his volunteer activities already tonight. Starting with a small Halloween display in 2004 to commemorate his brother's passing and a passion for this holiday, Joseph has built this into an annual event and raised thousands of dollars for the Stittsville Food Bank and other local charities. He has volunteered with the Knights of Columbus, Stittsville Chapter since 2007 at charitable events and fundraisers as a volunteer, participant, and chair. He has endless energy and a natural instinct for thinking about the welfare and well-being of our community. Joseph. Trevor Eggleton. Trevor is the founder of the Stittsville Pumpkin Parade and served as a director with the Stittsville Village Association for 7 years. He has also participated in and brought inspiration to many of the events hosted by the association. The Pumpkin Parade, was established in 2013 with 200 carved pumpkins and has grown to a much larger event each year on November 1st. Trevor donates his time generously to bring our community together with an eye to helping those less fortunate. Trevor. Leslie Mckay. Now, we've already introduced Leslie this evening for her nomination for Senior Citizen of the Year, and you've heard about her work with the Goulburn Township Historical Society, the Village Association, the Lions, and StittsvilleCentral.ca, just to name a few. We should also mention that Leslie was born and raised in Stittsville, and her family has a long history in the village, including as volunteers. She is known to give a kind and caring hand to many community members, checking in regularly and helping in any way that she can. Leslie. Stephen O'Kane. Stephen's love of soccer goes deep. In fact, the Pat O'Kane soccer field in Canada was named after his father. Continuing his father's footsteps, he started coaching soccer for various ages of kids in 2015, many of whom live here in Stittsville. To him, coaching soccer is not only about the games, but also about giving back to both the soccer community and the community he lives in and loves. He forges a positive and fun atmosphere where players feel empowered. He encourages every player to embrace challenges, dedicating countless hours, effort, and sweat to our local soccer community. He also hosts a soccer podcast and launched a fundraising campaign to establish a scholarship fund aiming to give families who wish for their children to play but cannot otherwise afford the registration or equipment. It's just one of the many examples of his community volunteer efforts. Stephen. Scott Phelan. Scott has made significant contributions to the Stittsville community, including the large Stittsville hockey community. He is serving his second term as the president of the Stittsville Minor Hockey Association, in addition to several years of volunteering his time as coach and on-ice helper for various teams. That's no small task in a normal year, but all the more challenging during the ups and downs of the pandemic. Coordinating and leading the efforts of a large number of volunteers, he's been able to stick handle through the various challenges for the organization and keep kids on the ice and keep them safe. Scott is also actively contributing to the Stittsville community through efforts such as food drives to support the food bank and as a key organizer in establishing the outdoor rink at Village Square Park. He is quick to respond to requests for assistance and need and routinely goes above and beyond to contribute to causes in the community and is often the first to raise his hand when something needs to be done. Scott. How about a big round of applause for all of the nominees this evening? Okay, now that we have met all of the nominees, it's time to announce the individual recipients in each category. There are so many incredible volunteers, and I know the steering committee had quite the task in finalizing their decisions. Let's start with the John Curry Memorial Youth of the Year Award, le Prix commémoratif John Curry pour le jeune de l'année. Lara, Sweden. For Senior Citizen of the Year, Aîné de l'année, Leslie Mckay. For Teacher of the Year, Enseignant de l'année, Andrew Arcello. For Business of the Year, Entreprise de l'année, Stittsville Home Hardware. For Volunteer Group of the Year, Groupe de bénévoles de l'année, the Stittsville Muslim Association. Le Prix commémoratif Roger Griffiths, the Roger Griffiths Memorial Citizen of the Year Award. Part of the tradition in these awards that each year a member of the Griffiths family presents and takes part in the presentation of this award. Please welcome Lynn Griffiths.
Everybody. I'm actually not supposed to be here. My name's Roger Mckay. I'm his grandson. My son was supposed to be here tonight to present the award. He's named for my father, and he's his youngest grandchild. But he got sick this afternoon, so I got a frantic last-minute phone call, and Mom, can you go? And I don't have a car, so that got a little interesting. But anyway, here I am. Roger did prepare a few notes because he hadn't done it before, but part of it was mine anyway. My job most years is to talk about my dad because I knew my dad. I grew up with my dad in Stittsville. And what's really nice this year, as His Worship the Mayor has said and as Glenn has said, is to see everybody and hug people and talk to them. And I mean, last year on Zoom was okay, but it wasn't the same thing, folks. It's fun to be back in Stittsville. I grew up here. I don't live here anymore. We never imagined, and our family never imagined, that 30 years after he passed away, because he passed away in 1988, an important year for Kalinda. We never thought that we would be 30 years later presenting an award named for him. It was created in 1990, as Glenn has said. At the time of his death, he was actually a serving counselor. He'd worn many, many hats, lots of volunteer service, like all of the people nominated for this award tonight. He was a Lions member, he was a hockey coach, he was the Poppy chairman, he helped build this building, he helped build the cenotaph. Sorry about the crooked floor, I don't know if he did that. He built ice rinks, he coached, he believed in accessibility, he believed sport and life should be available to everybody. He went into schools. He was in the Historical Society. I'm reading everybody's bios today going, check, 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 check. So last year, as I said, we did it on Zoom, and it was very nice because, as Glenn said, there's always somebody from the family here to talk about a little bit about him and who he was and why the award was named after him. And like all the nominees, he just did it. He put his hand up. Oh, you need an ice rink built? How many people do you need? And Marion's laughing because what you didn't mention, Glenn, and maybe you didn't know it, but Marion and her husband had the most amazing soapbox derby for years on Bell Street. And my dad used to go and make sure the kids with the slow soapboxes got a little surreptitious push so that they didn't look quite so left out. All of the people here who were nominated, all the people who were nominated for anything, you all stick your hand up. You all support your community. And it's a community my dad loved. It's a community I actually miss. I live in Centertown, and Mr. Mayor, you and I are going to have a conversation about the Queensway later. But it's why I almost didn't make it here. You cannot get on the Queensway going west anywhere between Bronson and Kirkwood tonight. Anyway, so my father was Roger. My son, who was supposed to be here, is Roger. And I'm going to read what he wanted to say, that the winner stuck their hand up when volunteers were needed. Involved in service roles, working with youth, believes that sports should be inclusive and accessible, and doesn't do things to get rewarded, but does it because that's what you do for your community. The other thing, though, he was going to say, and I will read it, I did not grow up with my grandfather, as I was very young when he died. My son was born in 1988. He was 6 months old when my dad died. He said, but I heard lots of stories from my grandmother and the rest of the family. I'm told I'm very like him, right down to choice of sport. For those of you in the room, he's a hockey player, like his grandfather. And he even supports the same team. Sorry, it's not the Sens. From what I've heard, he said, just don't ask me to sing, because he's not a singer. His grandfather was. From what I've learned about the winner tonight, they have much in common with my grandfather. He and the winner would likely have been good friends, volunteering side by side, even though they might not have cheered for the same hockey team. My dad was from Montreal, in case you're wondering. I am pleased to present, on behalf of my son and our family, the 2022 Roger Griffith Citizen of the Year Award to Scott Phelan. This man just said he's overwhelmed. He should not be, should he? He deserves this big time.
those of you that know me, I'm not afraid of a microphone, but I have to admit, when I was walking, coming in here tonight, I was even saying to my wife, who's back here, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just very fortunate to be in good company with everyone that was nominated tonight, and I think that's worth its weight in gold. That's the reason why we're all here, not to actually get an award or walk away with a piece of hardware, even though I'm overwhelmed. And you know that saying, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I've been very fortunate over the years to attend some of these wonderful things, but I've never actually, walked away with anything. And so I share this tonight with all of you, anyone that was nominated or anyone that wasn't, that does a good deed. And literally, it was the corner of Main and Abbott the other day, and this poor woman was having a rough time getting her walker across the street. It looked like just one of the footings of the wheel were, lodged in the sidewalk, if you will. And it was a busy day, and this gentleman just stopped the car, got out of his car, walked up, helped this young individual, of course, on her way, and which was wonderful. He just stopped traffic and just made it all happen. And I'm just sitting here, as much as we could have been in a rush or going somewhere, anything else, it was just nice to see. That's somebody that doesn't post something on social media. That's someone that doesn't put their hand up, or that's someone that doesn't make a phone call into the councilor's office or the mayor's office to say, hey, I've done a good deed. That's just somebody who volunteered their time for a very short period and did something outstanding and amazing. So I share this with anyone who volunteers. We all put our hands up to do something special, and we want to help and we want to give back, and we all have paying jobs that help pay the bills, but when it comes down to doing what we do it because we want to do it, and it feels really good to give back. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the nominees, and of course all the people that have taken time to come out this evening and enjoy this. This is wonderful to be back in person, and again, I thank you all. This is amazing. This feels good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Scott. Thank you, Lynn. It's always good to have you part of this. And congratulations again to all of our award recipients and nominees. Before we wrap up tonight, I want everybody to take a moment and think about some of the events or activities or places, anything that makes Stittsville a great place to live in for you. So many of these things depend on volunteers. Even the building we're in here tonight, someone alluded to it earlier. This is a building that was constructed by volunteers. The fundraising was done by volunteers. And I think there's some people in this room who probably had a part in that. That's pretty incredible. Over the last 2 years in the pandemic, we saw again and again the difference that volunteers make in our community. We've seen it over the past 2 weeks since the storm, the difference that volunteers make in our community. I found out from my team just the other day, cleaning the Capitol. I know many of you in here participated in cleaning the Capitol. We had 79 groups this year in Stittsville who participated in cleaning the Capitol. That's more than any other ward in Ottawa, so congrats. So thank you to all of you for that. Tonight's event is happening thanks to volunteers. The awards are organized by my team, going above and beyond their regular responsibilities. Merci à mon équipe, Isabel, Amélie, Aline, Jordan, Catherine, and Tracy. They're all around the room here in various places. I'd like to say a thank you in particular to Amélie, who played a lead role in organizing tonight's event. Thank you. Including tracking down 18 trees with about 3 days to go. That's pretty good. The award selections tonight are made by a selection committee, an arm's length selection committee. So thank you to the members of that committee, Terry Christopher, Mandy Hambley, Jamil Lalji, Keith Toro, and Phil Sweetnam. Thank you to all of you for your time and guidance. And I'm going to forget someone, but I want to try to thank as many people as possible who had a role tonight. The Griffiths family, Mayor Watson, Jane Hill. Jane is John Curry's sister, and she wished she could be here tonight, but could not be. Roxanne Olivier Fortier with our national anthem. Merci, Roxanne. ISI Live, who are helping with our video streaming this evening. The healthiest communities around the world are the ones where the most people are getting involved in community life. And you can define health however you want: physical health, mental health, social health, economic health. The indicators all improve when you have lots of people taking part. So I want you all to think for a second, what's something that you can do on your street or in your neighborhood or in your city, at school, at work? I bet you can all think of something you can do to help out as a volunteer. So tonight I challenge you all to go out and make that thing happen, get involved, and maybe we'll see some of you honored here in a future year. So to our nominees and winners, you should be very proud about what you've accomplished and what you contribute to our community. Je suis fier de perpétuer cette tradition annuelle. I'm proud to continue this yearly tradition so that we continue to say thank you to these leaders for their outstanding contributions to life in our community. Merci à tous pour votre participation. Thank you to all of you for getting involved. Take care and have a good night. Nominees, if you can come grab your gift bag and your tree. And I think we'll also move the podium in case anyone wants to set up some photos before you leave tonight. Thank you, everybody.